And we're live. Welcome to Daily Confidence for Entrepreneurs. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, and I'm your host for the show. At Daily Confidence, we share tips, strategies, and actionable advice that you can use to boost your confidence when it comes to running your business on a daily basis, and as a result, grow and scale your business. During the show, we're going to be giving away gifts, and we do give away a gift on a weekly basis, not daily. And if you would like to enter the draw, if you like, subscribe, comment while we are having a conversation, and ask questions about the topic that we're going to discuss. If you tag a friend who could benefit from the conversation that we're having, and if you rate and review the show on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or any other platform, you enter your name for that draw. Now, let me introduce myself and tell you about what we got going on. And I'm going to introduce my amazing friend, Jay Fiset. Welcome, Jay.
Hey, how are you? I lost our video. I was like, where the hell did it go? What's happening? But I'm back. I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm fantastic. Let me actually dive right into introducing Jay properly, and then we're going to get started. We got an amazing topic today, which makes a difference in everyone's business. So, Jay Fiset is a best-selling author, student of human nature, avid sportsman at five-star hotels, speaks fluent smartass, can see and reflect your life mission in 5 minutes flat, loves having two sons so he can play with their toys, including restoring their cars in his garage, still fantasizes about his wife after 25 years, loves ideas, but loves results even more, can simultaneously laugh and cry for different reasons at the same time, and I've seen that firsthand, has never been starstruck, but did not get a chance to meet Martin Luther King. There would have been a teenage girl screaming if he had. He's dedicated to instigating a global movement of conscious creators and supporting people to organize their life and resources around their passion and gifts. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you. That one always makes me smile, and I like your addition. But just about restoring their car in his garage, the way the teenager is working on that car, that may well just be another one of my cars. So he's got to get his ass in gear, or else I'm just taking it over, man.
Oh yeah, I see all your pictures, being excited about new arrivals and working on it over the weekend. So and it's good. I love it how you guys have like a father-son project that you guys are both passionate about. I hope I could find a project with my son when he grows up like that.
Well, I'll tell you the honest goodness truth about that, because it's another example of a joint venture, right? It's like, how do we collaborate? How do we spend time together? How do we actually create an asset and a resource that gives him a start in life? Because it's a fairly it's a quickly appreciating old car if he can do it well. But I'll tell you, here's my lesson thus far, is that for a first project like that, is that we should have just done something cosmetic where we could just paint it, clean up the interior, and have something. But this one is an entire rebuild, which was a little too much and a little overwhelming. I was teasing about it might end up my car, but it's like the project's monumental. But
how long have you been at it so far?
Well, how long have we owned the car, or how long have we actually worked on it? Because they're two very different things.
On it.
Yeah. Well, I would say that we have worked on it for about a year, and then we have paused for about 6 months. So in those 6 months,
be another year by the time you're done.
Well, the goal was for it to be done October of 2021, and if we were to really hustle, that could still be done. That could absolutely still be done. In fact, for sure. But I'm at the spot right now where it's like, I'll continue to accumulate parts. We'll strategically get stuff if it's on sale, like those little mirrors that, like, I don't know if you saw that little picture of something beautiful came in the mail. I think that's what you're referring to. Those are fender mirrors that were for the Japanese market only. And they're like, they cost the amount of a kidney, like they're so rare and all, and to get a real one and all the rest. Anyway, but when something like that comes up, that's a good price, I'm just grabbing it so that we can bolt this stuff on. Anyway, that's a long way of saying, he's got to step up.
One of those things that you better buy while it's there. Otherwise,
well, exactly, they're rare as hen's teeth. Exactly. I mean, and this is new old stock that is probably well. Anyway, we just won't talk about the money because it's best not to.
So speaking of joint ventures, today we're talking about the art and science of profitable joint ventures. But before we get into that, Jay, please tell us about your story a little bit. What's your story? How did you get into what you're doing now?
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, I'm probably a lifelong entrepreneur, and I'm turning 54 at the end of this month. So I've been at it a long while. My core business, which was a personal development company, which I bought, I went to work for them in 1988 and bought it in 1991, still exists. That was Personal Best Seminars, where you and I originally met. We basically we supported over 40,000 people through intense personal transformation programs. I got a little bit tired of that because it's an incredible amount of work. There was me and a team of about 5 facilitators doing courses in 3 different cities, and we would do as many as 200, and if you counted all the cities, as sometimes as many as 350, 400 events a year. So if you do that for 5 years, you might guess that you might get a little talk about that. So I decided I wanted to enter this online world, which was a complete fiasco at the beginning. I spent 3 years burning most of my money in a wheelbarrow in the back of my yard. And then we hit a home run with a brand called Mastermind to Millions, which was a training program we did for the personal development company that we just made public with some additional marketing. That took us from $0 to $2.6 million in 14 months US. So for a brief time in Canadian dollars, I was a billionaire. Only Canadians will get that, but it's like, and in that process, what transpired is we just kept having people going, it's like, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? Well, and the answer was, we did it with strategic joint ventures. And then it's like, well, can you teach me how? And for the most part, I just said no. And then it was like, well, if you're a friend of mine, I'll tell you how. And it's like, well, the demand kept growing. So we ultimately ended up creating an entire brand called JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit, teaching the fundamentals of community, joint ventures, and scaling our business utilizing strategic joint ventures. And we've been at that. I think our very first, our pilot event was in January of 2017, and it is now our core driving force. So that's a long way to say this. In all of my brands, we create conscious communities of choice. I'm blessed to have an amazing people around me, and we continue to move and shake in the world.
So for those people who are new to joint ventures or the affiliate world, what actually is the definition of a joint venture deal or a joint venture partner?
Well, that's a grand question, and I'm going to use my definition, which doesn't mean it's the definition, okay? Because in the legal world, our mutual friend Heather is like, oh, a joint venture has a very strategic and specific legal definition, all the rest of it. I'm not talking about that. I use the phrase joint venture as an umbrella catch-all, and that umbrella catch-all applies to affiliate marketing, where you might buy a piece of software or something, and it's like, hey, here's a link. If you share it, we'll send you some money. It's a little bit like you can buy Starbucks with it. Joint ventures is sort of the middle category that is generally a project. It has a beginning, a middle, and end. Like you and I are going to talk about our upcoming Facebook challenge, the JV Jumpstart. That's a great example. There's a beginning, which is, hey, this thing is coming up. I'm just going to serve and support people to really make a difference in their business. Then there's the event. And then if there's any conversions, or depending on how it's structured, then the people who are participating split proceeds, split leads, split money, split whatever the case may be, so that it's equitable and fair for everyone involved. And then the third category is what we would call strategic partnerships, where we either embed content or we make sure that in the flow of our client journey, we introduce them to the people who are going to help solve their next problem first. And we end up really embedding ourselves in one another, which is one of the most beautiful things in the universe. And I call all of those joint ventures. But let's back that up to this. It's whenever two or more people, organizations, collaborate with their network, wisdom, resources, and experiences to provide a better quality product and service for their clients. And they figure out some way to split the benefits of that works as a win for the client, a win for the partner, and a win for ourselves.
Love it. Love it. And we're going to dig more into that. So what is your JV story? How did you get started with this whole JV world?
Well, that's
I know you got an interesting story there.
That is actually kind of entertaining, because Personal Best, which was my personal development company, is that was a closed system. We did not do JVs. We did not have anyone ever on our stage. We did not do any of those sorts of things. It was just us. If you wanted to play in our world, great. You took our facilitator training and you got certified, which would take anywhere from 1 to 4 years. It was a closed loop. And I want to put this in perspective about why everybody listening should be doing joint ventures and figuring out how to structure that better. Because in that process, it took me almost 15 years to break $1 million in annual sales, working like a freaking madman. I'm a Saskatchewan farm kid. I may not know much, but I can tell you this: I know how to work, and I can outwork most human beings. So that took 15 years to break 7 figures in annual sales, working like a freaking madman. And basically, when I decided I wanted to start this digital marketing thing, it was like, okay, so how does this work? What occurs? And I was, after a couple of years, I got an invite to Christian Michelson's joint venture summit. And what's interesting at the time is I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. The first time I was invited, I didn't go. And I didn't realize that, there are people who are like kissing ass, begging, working hard to try and get an invitation to this thing. And I get an invite and I'm like, that sounds stupid. I don't want to do that. Now, and the funny thing about it, Mustafa, is that while I'm dismissing that, I am failing miserably at online marketing. Like I'm just like failing miserably, which, in hindsight is so stupid. But anyway.
That's usually what happens. Like when we're failing, we're like, oh, I don't need that. I'm trying to figure this out on my own.
Yes, exactly. It's like, and for me, and I don't know if any of the listeners have a little bit of a stubborn, self-righteous bone in their body, but I have a little bit of that Saskatchewan stubbornness in me. It's like, God damn it, I'm going to figure this out and I'm going to get it. It can't be that hard. I've seen the people who are doing it and they don't look that sharp. Surely I can figure this out. Anyway, so the second time I was invited, I finally went, and I'm in a room of what are supposed to be some of 30 of the best entrepreneurs in the digital space in North America and beyond. People came from Europe, and honest to goodness, I felt like I was in a dark room with a blindfold on, looking for the light switch, because I really didn't comprehend what the hell was going on. But there I would sit, and just to put this in context, is I have at that stage of the game over 22 years of course content and development and processes. I have 18 different weekend programs. I've certified 7 different facilitators who are traveling the world leading these things. It's like, I have some content, but I can't sell a damn thing online. And I sit down beside a woman. I will never forget this so long as I live. And wait, so what do you do? What do you do? And basically what she says to me is this. It's like, yeah, I have a 17-page PDF and I go to Bali twice a year doing retreats and I make, $500,000 a year. And I'm like, what? It's like, you're telling me. So literally, I have a year of content that changes people's lives, and we've done it for 40,000 people, and I can't give something away online, and you have an effing PDF, and you go on a holiday and you make $500,000. Anyway, so like that was one of those earth-shattering conversations.
And you work like 3 days a year.
Yeah, I know, and I'm like. So anyway, that was like one of the first smacks I got. And then in that weekend, there was a whole bunch of those. And it's like, my judgment was that many of them, and just please understand, I'm just being as clear as I can. My judgment is many of them were like,
Jay, and here's my 17-year-old. He does the same.
Honest to God, if that would have happened, I think I'd have started crying at the time. But it was like, there was a whole bunch of these smacks, and it was like, my judgment was these folks were like one-note tunes. You only got this one silly little thing, but they were all doing 1,000 or 1,000,000 times better than I was, because I couldn't get something to happen online. So basically what I did was I decided there was a bunch of great people in that room that I wanted to serve and support. And I was going to get behind them and I was going to learn what the hell they were doing, because clearly I had a lot to learn. And for about a year, maybe 14 months, I did nothing but support other people's projects and programs. While I was doing that, we landed on this model of Mastermind to Millions. And I was very, very blessed that when we brought that to market, we had some of the biggest players in the universe get behind that program. And we went from zero, a brand that didn't exist, to $2.6 million in 14 months. And that was all joint ventures. And that was one of the greatest context expanding experiences of my life and business. And I should just be clear with people. There's like, when I say personal best and all the rest of it, but I've owned commercial real estate, I've owned restaurants, I've owned insurance companies, I've owned a variety of things in a variety of industries. So I am not an entrepreneurial neophyte by any stretch of the imagination, but I still, through all that experience, I didn't get the power of JVs until Mastermind to Millions.
Mm-hmm. For those of you who are watching and listening or join us later, Jay Fiset is a dear friend, and we're talking about the art of profitable joint venture deals. Jay is a master at this topic, and that's what we're talking about. If you have any questions about this topic, or if you know someone that could and would want to grow and scale a profitable business this year in 2021, with all the opportunities that are around, tag them, ask a question, and if you have any questions, we will answer your questions as we go forward. Now, Jay, who is a good fit for JV partnerships?
Well, somebody who isn't as judgmental as I was. And somebody who isn't attached to their struggle. You know, there are a whole bunch of entrepreneurs who, and by the way, this remark resembles me at the time. There's a whole bunch of entrepreneurs who want it and need it to be hard to be right about their story, right? So here's, you know, our catchphrase, our tagline: JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit. So number one, it helps if you actually like people. That really does help. So if you're a introvert who just wants to hide behind your computer and those sorts of things, you're probably going to be stuck over in the affiliate marketing piece. You're going to get a link, you'll send it off, you'll see what happens. But if you genuinely like people and you care about people and you want to get behind their mission and their purpose and all of those pieces, and I'll take that a step further, and you really care about your clients and you want your clients to have a greater experience of success, then joint venturing only makes sense. Because here's the thing: if you are an entrepreneur and you're sitting there and it's like, what could I do to get more perfectly qualified leads? And I even add to that, what could I do to get more perfectly qualified leads for free that will help grow and scale my business? You should be doing joint ventures. Mm-hmm. If you're an entrepreneur going, it's like, geez, this up and down income roller coaster thing is driving me nuts. Then what if you had consistent, recurring, passive income that comes to you through your JV partners that levels that off for you? Then you should do JVs. And here's the honest to God truth about it. I have yet to come across a company or an organization or a coaching practice or a intellectual property business that couldn't strategically use JVs. Now, I want to be very clear about this. For some businesses, it's not instantly obvious. It takes a little bit of work, which is one of the reasons why we created our 5 partners in 5-day challenge, is that there are some fundamental concepts and levels of understanding that you need to understand about your business model, your client, your ideal client's journey, that when those things click, it's like, oh, yes, I should be doing this. And I think, Mustafa, I'm just going to say this because I think it's true. And if I'm off, you correct me. But, you know, you were at the second JVology Live we ever did, up at our loft here. And you got the concept, but it wasn't really until like 2 years later that you're like, holy shit, I am going to do this and I'm going to blow 7 figures out of the water and away we go. So I think there's this, I intellectually understand it. I play with it a little bit. And then it's like, wait a second, this thing's a home run if I actually just apply the thing. And I think what happened for you happens for almost everyone. So that's why we said, look, let's just teach you the basics for free. And when you see the basics through this 5-day challenge, then you can make a decision. Is this something I want to do more of? And in my humble opinion, I think you'd be batshit crazy not to.
And to be clear to people that are watching and listening, I did about 10 years of BNI, being in business, referrals, networking, collaborations. And it still took me a while. That tells you how smart I am to let this whole thing sink in and start using it like on steroids. And I'll share with you what's been happening back in 2020 and how all those years of learning, hanging out with Jay and people like Jay helped me skyrocket some of my results at last year. Nice. So what are some wrong assumptions that people make about this whole JV and affiliate and strategic partnership deal and the whole thing?
Well, that's
I know that's a weekend topic, but
it really is. It's like, let's get a couple bottles of wine and have some chuckles. I think number one, top of the list is that people think it's about email. And, you know, and that is, by the way, email, and that is for just digital marketers because it's for email. And nothing could be further from the truth. The reality is strategic joint ventures have existed since the beginning of time. since the beginning of time. And what I say to people is like, email, think of that as 1% of the possibility of what could occur with a great comprehensive joint venture structure and a true alignment in terms of your joint venture partners. So I think that's number one. It's like, oh, my email list is too small, or I don't want to email my people too much. Or sort of things. It's like, that is, honest, as clear as I can say it, that is the silliest, most ridiculous assumption in the universe. Is it a way? Of course it is. Is it the only way? That is the most ridiculous thing ever. So we teach that this is an entrepreneurial process. So whether you have a brick and mortar store, as my sister and brother-in-law have a whole bunch of stores in a variety of malls and outlets, they do great strategic joint ventures with simple things like a business card in a box that drives traffic to one of their other associated partners, and vice versa. Simple, clean, and easy. What else can I tell you? That that you've got to be successful at the beginning to start, and that is as well BS. It's like it's like rock climbing. You start climbing from where you are, because that's the only choice that exists, by the way. You start climbing from where you are, and as you continue to move up, you will find that you'll have greater access to stronger partners, bigger lists, larger audiences, greater opportunities. Those are probably the two. There's one more third one, which is, I'm not ready to joint venture because my book, digital program, course, workshop isn't done yet. And that is completely backwards, like completely. And here's the thing, the mistake that people make all the time, and this also gets them with sometimes the bad taste in their mouth about JVs, is that they go hide in their basement for a year writing a book, and then it's done and they come up and it's like, ta-da, hey world, send my book to your list. And the world responds with, who the hell are you and why do I care? And then they're like, well, nobody's supporting me. And it's like, look, you have to build the relationship before you make the ask. That's why we say joint ventures are a game of I'll go first. And the truth is, you should probably, if you're using your noggin, you should probably be doing that for 6 to 12 months prior to your product service experience being ready. You should be supporting and building relationships for 6 to 12 months prior. And then you might find that result. Do you have another question, or can I tell you one silly story?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so
I have a lot of questions, but tell me all your stories.
Well, again, we're blind. So there was a woman, kind-hearted one, who was in our joint venture community for about a year. In that year, she changed what she did, what her business was, at least 3 times, possibly 4. And the end of the year comes, and it's like, so do you want to renew? And it's like, well, I'm just, her words, I'm just not really very happy with the amount of support that I got from the community. And I said, really? Well, tell me more. It's like, well, then so she continues why. It's like, so just to be clear about this, in a year, you changed what your business was 4 times, and you're surprised that people didn't run to your side to support and mail. Yeah. I was like, okay, I understand. But
tell me more.
But let's be clear, is that if you can't drive the lane on a business that demonstrates it is successful, nobody in their right freaking mind is going to say, hey, what's your latest stupid shit? Let me send that to my tribe. Said no one ever. So if you're, this is the reason why you get in and you support people first. If your product, service, or experience isn't quite ready, or you're still in the middle of pivoting and all those sorts of things, you don't ask people to support your pivot. You pivot, you get grounded, you create value, and then say, hey, would you? And that kind of thing is just really significant and important, that we start by supporting people first and building the relationship. When we've got something that really is going to knock it out of the park and make our partner look like a rock star to their tribe, that's when you ask.
Got it.
Hey, Robert, Avid, good to see you again.
And I've been guilty of this, and about your adding to the story is like, people want to launch a course or a book, and then they're like, oh, I'm going to do this on my own, forgetting about all their JV partners. And then 7 days before the start of their course or book launch, they send an email saying, hey, can you promote me? People are like, no, it's a little too tight right now. and I've been guilty of that.
Yes. And as have I. And sometimes it's because we're just doing too damn many things.
Yeah.
But the honest goodness truth is, most great partners JV schedules are a year out, a 18 months out. And of course, that depends on what we're asking them to do. So are we asking them to participate in like a full product launch, formula launch, or are we asking them to jump on a quick Facebook Live? I mean, there's a range of things there, but honest to goodness, when you really get the power of this, you start planning months and years in advance. And that's what really makes a difference.
So if I'm getting started with joint venture partnerships, affiliates, strategic partnerships, or finding referral partners is how some other people will put it together. What do I need to get started?
Well, I'm going to answer in perhaps a unique way. Okay. So there are things that we need. So it helps to have a little bit of technology. It helps to have a little bit of swipe copy to make it easy to promote. It helps to have all those things. But here's the real thing you need. You need a community of people that understand what a JV is. So you're not dragging people around who are clueless about it. You need a community that is actually willing to give, connect, and contribute. You need a community that's willing to, hold your hand and guide you when it's like you do something dumb, and we all do. You really do need a resource of people that are predisposed and understand the business model and are looking for ways to serve their tribe and client best. And that is the number one lesson that, my example of going to Christian's event and feeling like I was wandering around in the dark. It was like, wait a second, I might be wandering around in the dark, but the heavy lifting's already been done for me by putting these people in the room. Mm-hmm. All I need to do is find out how I can serve them and what their tribe needs. And if we remove that whole piece, then good Lord, look out world, here we come.
Mm-hmm. So for those of you who are watching and listening, here's my perspective on joint venture partnerships. Let's say that I'm trying to launch a product or service. Let's say that I need 50 people to buy my book or join my course. Okay. For me to go out there and talk to 500 people so I can sign up 50 of them at the end of the day is going to take a lot of time. It's going to require a team, a lot of resources, technology, and you name it. But if I talk to someone like Jay and say, Jay, we're friends, we know each other for a while, here's what I'm promoting, would this be a good fit for you and your tribe? And if it is, 1 or 2 emails to someone else's list could fix all of those problems, all that trouble, all the energy and resources within a week, right? It's like saving all that headache, because here's the deal. Jay has spent years and years, millions of dollars building his list, building trust, credibility, expertise, authority, you name it, with his list. Now, if Jay goes to his list and says, you know what, Mustafa is a nice guy, you might want to check out what he's offering. That's all you need to say, right? Then be like, all right, Jay tries this guy, let me check him out. So it's like half the work is done for you with one email or one live conversation like this. It is very powerful. And in my experience, it is, if not one of the most effective and easiest way to generate leads and add people to your tribe. So that's my 2 cents on that.
100%. And just to be clear about it, I think our best run ever was we added 28,000 people to our list in 10 days. One of our young JV partners and JVology community members recently added 260,000 people to his list in 14 days, all through one JV. Yes. Yeah. That's not a bad couple of weeks.
So let's talk about this. How long would it take me, and how much money, to add 260,000 people to my list on my own?
Well, here's what I average it at, and is that, ups, downs, ins, outs, opt-ins, webinar registration, all right, let's just call it $10. It's $10 a lead. So that is $2.5 million of value right there, done in 2 weeks with one JV partner.
Wow.
That doesn't include the sales. That's just the value of the lead. That is not the value of the business that those leads will generate, which will be, in his case, actually tens of millions of dollars. It's an interesting SaaS platform that's going to do incredibly well. But let's be clear, most of us don't start there. Where you should be starting is getting the foundation. And he was very smart in terms of how he built his business, how he structured his business, what was going on. And that process really made a monumental difference. So the place to start is baby steps, understand the model, all of those pieces. And that's, again, going back to where this challenge gives you this is the what you should do in the training. So, and by the way, it's 5 days. You're going to watch a video for maybe 10 minutes a day. You're going to go do one activity, and you're going to come to the Facebook page and talk about it. And by the way, meet other partners. So you're going to do that every day for 5 days. And in that process, we usually have somewhere between 500 and 1,000 people playing, which is a nice number because the posts aren't so overwhelming. You get lost in them. You can actually see the people who are your upstream, your downstream, which we'll teach you in the 5 days. So you just go through that process, and you're going to land with, we call it the JV Jumpstart, 5 partners in 5 days. If you just do the activities, you'll end up with at least 5 partners. I think the record is 38 partners, our mutual friend, Kimberly. So that is where we start. We work out the bugs. We understand what a JV invitation is, which we teach you in that process as well, which, by the way, it is not a pitch. It is not a, hey, you do shit for me. Like, that's not how that goes. And you'll have an environment to practice in. That's where we start. And the truth is, even, 5 neophyte partners can often drive tens of thousands of dollars of value for you very quickly. You missed the last Global Lounge call there. We had a whole bunch. It was like, so just, it's the beginning of the year. Tell us how your last year went. And, a bunch of the examples were really powerful, but one I loved is Rory and Dustin, who they have a HR firm. In 4 months in the JVLG Global Lounge, they had a 7,000% return on their investment in 4 months. That's the power of just a couple of great JV partners.
So I shared the link for Jay's upcoming 5-day to 5 JV partners challenge starting on Monday, January 18th. That goes on for 5 days. Every day there is a short and sweet and to the point instruction on what to do. He teaches what to do. There's a community where you connect with thousands of people from around the world. Last year in April, was it that we did it? I think I brought in another 30 or 40 partners as well.
Awesome.
Like,
yeah, you were working it. I remember you coming and saying, I have a goal and I am going to nail it.
Oh yeah. And I did. And I think, gang, here's the deal. I think you would get 5 partners if you're sleeping, right? Like, honest to God, it's like, there are so many people in there. All you need to do is reach out and say, hey, can we have a conversation? And they'll be like, yeah, because they're there to find partners. And then you jump on a Facebook call. You call them on Facebook Messenger, wherever they are in the world. And you have a conversation. It's easy. It could be done in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. And Jay is going to give you all the ropes and he will show you how it's done.
Exactly. I will teach you the conversation to have. They will understand because they're in the community. They will understand what the conversation means. They'll be able to instantly see, yes, this is of value to my tribe and community. You are and we'll teach you this in the challenge. You are my upstream, you're my downstream, which changes how we do the deal a little bit, but you got to understand it because it simplifies it so much. And it'll be a pretty simple yes or no, let's give this a shot. And the beauty of that for building your business is indescribable. I don't really have great words for it. Like, I just look back at how hard I used to work in a closed system without using JVs. And it's like, did I fall and hit my head thinking that was the wise route? like it was like, what on earth could I have been thinking? So anyway, I would love, here's the last thing. And I hate rattling the COVID chain, but it's got to be pretty clear as we're in, I don't know, wave 2, wave 3, I don't know what goddamn wave we're in, but that 2021 is going to be a bit of a weird year again. And the truth of the matter is we need to find alternatives. We need to create what I call an entrepreneurial safety network. We need to have alternative ways of reaching our tribe, knowing full well that our tribe has greater needs right now than perhaps ever. This is a beautiful way to do it.
So, given what's going on in the world, we're all staying at home doing business. Many businesses have gone more international, having customers all over God's green earth, like mine in the past 9 months, than I think combined in the past 10 or 20 years. Yes. So yes, it's tough times, but now more than ever, We need to be creative. We need partners. We must have collaborative relationships, strategic relationships that can help us grow and scale,
Yep.
right? And and we have our inside joke about best pandemic ever. Right?
Yes. I say trepidatiously because I know it's been hard on people, but the honest to God truth is, for my family and many of us in our community, this has been just simply one of the greatest times ever. Like one of the greatest times ever. But I am not, I'm not ignorant enough or unconscious enough to not acknowledge why that's true. And it's true because of our community. It's true because of the entrepreneurial safety network. It's true because of the business model that we chose to adopt. It's true because of the support that we've been able to generate. It's true because of the foundation we built for the last 3.5 years in this community. That's why. And I know it's not people's universal experience, but I tell you what, for us, and we were just having this conversation, like my dear sister is battling some health issues. And it's like, you know what? I get to have the time to be there to support her, which I know lots of people wouldn't be able to. And that is because of this process and this model. And by the way, my dear wife brought me breakfast. So if my head is bobbling over here, it's only because it looks too good and I don't want to wait until it's cold.
I want to ask a couple more questions and we're going to wrap up so you can get to your breakfast. And I'll go back to my kids and my breakfast. What is the next step? So I shared the link here, gang, if you're watching and listening to this amazing 5-day challenge. It's happening next week. If you have not been exposed to this whole JV world, you must simply try this and test it. Yes. If you're struggling with your business, if you don't know what to do to grow and scale, if you have not, if you feel lonely, which most entrepreneurs do, it is a lot easier to build, grow, and scale a business with support, with a community, hanging out with people that are like-minded. They understand it. They are there to help support and serve you and, collaborate together. It just doesn't get any better than that. So all I'm saying is give it a shot, work on it. It's the beginning of the year. People all set their New Year's resolutions and goals, and they want to change the world. We cannot change the world alone. That's another piece.
That is 100% true. So I'd like to just talk for a moment or two about, number one, you should register for the challenge. But I'd like to talk for a moment or two about how to get the most out of the challenge. Because, how do I put this? We currently live in a society that has the attention span of a gnat. So the 5 days, while compressed and bite-sized, you still got to make a commitment to actually do it to get the results that you want. So here's what my suggestion is. It's number one, you register for the challenge. Number two, somewhere between Monday and Friday, you find in your calendar 30 minutes a day. Now, 30 minutes is longer than you're going to need. I give you my word, longer than you're going to need. But in that 30 minutes, here's the 3 things that you're going to do. You're going to, number one, consume the videos so you understand what we call the chapter titles of what you must do to have your business JV ready and to be in that space. So you're just going to watch the videos and learn them. Then you're going to have maybe 5 to 7 minutes where we're going to ask you to go and do something. And that's it. You must do it. And that you'll find that the momentum of those things has you in a beautiful spot. But here's why I asked you to put 30 minutes in. If you wanted to be really bold, you could put an hour. Is that you
probably wouldn't regret it.
I guarantee you wouldn't regret it. I guarantee you wouldn't regret it. If you put an hour in, what you do with the rest of the time is you spend time reaching out, connecting with, understanding the hundreds of other people in the challenge and building those relationships, which is how Mustafa got over 30 plus partners in the challenge as well. A little extra time in the relationship building process, which we're going to hold your hand through. Just understand this, is that we spend significant time, money, and energy to deliver to you 500 to 1,000 entrepreneurs on a silver platter who are looking for you. So do you want to spend a little extra time saying, hey, I'm here? Or do you want to go and surf Facebook or do some whatever that doesn't actually move the needle? Because those relationships will move the needle. So that's how you get the absolute most out of it.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, we're totally cool with bribing you to do so. So each and every day, everyone who does the activity, we put you in a draw. We draw for an Amazon gift certificate. At the end of it, everyone who has done all 5 days, we put in a draw for a prize that's worth over $12,000 of joint venture training, support, and community, which is frankly exceptional. So, like, if you're gonna, my point to this is, do it or don't, because you could, this is like the fork in the road, the easy way or the hard way. If you're too busy, as I was the first time I was invited to Christian Michelson's thing, I was like, look, I'm too busy burning my money doing shit that doesn't work. I got it. if you're too busy working too hard, then stay at that and good luck. Or if you're at the spot where it's like, I want to make the wisest, most strategic choice for my business and to scale and grow with ease, then you come and you invest a little bit of time to participate properly, and it'll knock your socks off.
So again, if you're watching and listening, obviously I know, love, like, and trust Jay. So here's what you should think about. Jay has been building a community and spending time, money, energy, and resources to build that community. Okay. And these are a community of people who are there to play with you, who are there and are showing up to learn and are open to collaborate and learn and JV. Usually, and if you look around, you will see this, you would have to pay to get into a community like this.
Mm-hmm.
You would have to pay an access fee on a monthly or annual basis, anywhere from thousands to tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a community like this. So all I'm trying to say is show up and check it out. You will not regret it. Jay, if you had to start all over again with the JV world,
Mm-hmm.
what would you do differently?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's actually
I guess the first response is you probably wouldn't wait for a year or two.
and it's a little different in the COVID time, but let's just assume that and there's variations in the COVID time. I would hustle up the $350,000 plus or minus that I spent doing stupid shit trying to figure out my own, and I'd take half that money and I would join communities. That's it. I'd take $150,000 and I would join the highest level communities that would have me, and I would get in there and I would build relationships, and I would contribute with every goddamn thing I had to build those relationships. And I would wager that inside of knowing what I know today, inside of 6 to 12 months, I would have a strong 7 heading into an 8-figure business.
Oh, absolutely. Love it. Like, we spent all that time, money into Facebook advertising and into Google and this and that. But if you put and join a community of people who are collaborating and doing all this, it would make a monumental difference.
Can I give you an exact example of this in one of our first launches?
Absolutely.
So my dear friend Joshua, who he and I built Mastermind to Millions Live together. He was a client of mine that became a friend, that became a business partner. And we were doing the debrief on one of them. And it's like, we had a ton of partners. We were really well supported. But the truth of the matter is that there was like 8 people that drove almost 90% of the traffic and the sales. And we went back and it was like, so those 8 people. And then there was still like another 120 or so that we spent an inordinate amount of time with, like getting them system, like doing all the stuff that it takes. And make no mistake about it, when we say that JV partners give us a steady stream of free leads, that doesn't mean that it doesn't cost time and money to build the structure, to get them the technology, to hold their hand, to all of that. That still takes time and money. Mm-hmm. Not Facebook time and money, but time and money. But here's where we came to. It's like, you know what? Had we not even talked to the other 20-some%, pardon me, the other 90, yeah, exactly. If we had just actually booked plane tickets and flew to New York and had dinners with a couple of strategic people, flew to San Diego, had dinners with a couple of strategic people, flew to Los Angeles and had dinners with a couple of strategic people, we would have done more with less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that just, the honest to God truth is, when you're figuring this out, you are going to be building a system that everyone can participate in, but you're really going to be looking for those people that can truly move the needle, and you want to be efficient and effective with them. So that is totally where I would start. getting on planes, trains, and automobiles, building and leveraging powerful relationships. Which, just a
Love
little
it.
sidebar to this, when we're done here today at noon, I get to have a nice meeting with one of the people that supported me most significantly in this entire process, that I met at that, I'm in the dark with the blindfold on, Justin Livingston. And, years later, we're still connected and all those sorts of things, because he's just a really sharp, good guy. And he helped me a ton in that process.
Very interesting. So, gang, if you're watching or listening, the link to Jay's 5-day challenge is in the comments of the show. I'm going to post it again. Go there, check it out, and hang out, tap into his community, knowledge, wisdom, and resources. Build your business. This is the way to grow and scale your business. Now, a couple of questions, Jay. What are the top books that you usually recommend to people or have made a significant change in your life?
That's a really good question. I go through I would say reading. What do you call it when you eat too much? When you're feasting and fasting. There we go. That's what I'm after. So I go through these stages of reading, feasting, and it's I'm reading 17 books at one time, and then there's times where it's I do not want any more content in. I need to really, yeah, exactly. So I think for me, and just by the way, I'm in the middle of a fast, but I think if I look back historically at the single most significant book that has impacted me, my life, and my business, it's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. The chapter on mission, which I really took to heart and I still listen to and live. I wrote a mission statement using that model 35 years ago. I still listen to that on my affirmations when I work out and all those sorts of things every single day. So absolutely the most significant book that has altered the trajectory of my life.
Love it. What are a couple other book suggestions that you usually suggest people to read?
If you got kids, Healthy Sleep Habits, Happy Children. That book probably saved our life, marriage, and certainly our sex life. That is, which if you've got kids that aren't sleeping and you're having trouble or waking up at midnight,
read that book.
Yes, honest to goodness, it is absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Those are probably two of my faves. And here's a weirder one. This personal development, and it's difficult to find, but if you can find it, it's quite stunning. Is The Silent Pulse, and it's out of print, but it is a book about spirituality and if you wanted to be a little Star Wars-ish, about the force that connects and is interwoven between all things, and how if we're present and conscious, we can tap into that. And that book certainly altered my perception of myself, the world, and my place in it. So those would probably be the 3 most impactful books in my life.
Love it. Love it. Jay, if you had an ad, a Facebook ad or Google ad, who everyone on the internet could see, what would your message be?
Oh, that's a great question. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm going to go back in time to the core of what I think is most important, and it would be this. It would be do your own work. And what I mean by that is there is a foundation of self-awareness and consciousness that touches, encompasses, and facilitates everything else in our life and in our world. And what I see is more and more people doing it. Thank goodness. I mean, we started back in 1988. But the truth is, if we can just do our own work and dedicate ourselves to this process of becoming, then the tactics, the strategies, the relationships, all of the other things that people try to do gets a whole lot easier because of who we are being. And it's, to me, the meta skill. It's the meta process. It is why we're here. So it would be some version of a message that is do your own internal work, and the rest of this shit's going to be 1,000 times easier.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Love it, love it, love it. Jay, is there anything you would like to add that we haven't talked about that people should know about?
Great. Our community, JVology, the perfect mix of people, fun, and profit, we have some pretty clear values. And one of the loudest is a joint venture is a game of I'll go first, which means if you want to be relevant to somebody, if you want to make a difference with somebody, if you want to be a partner with somebody, then step up and contribute. And our 5-day challenge is us living that message. It's like, look, you don't have to buy anything from us. You don't even have to believe us. You can think it's all a bunch of silliness and all the rest of it. But here's what I ask. If your business could improve and grow and you want it to, just come and let us demonstrate it for 5 days. At the end of the 5 days, you're going to say hell yes or hell no. I can't comprehend a hell no, but I will respect both of those things. But you must educate yourself. You must discover what it means before you can make an intelligent decision. So just let us give to you and then go decide. That's it.
Absolutely. I mean, the advice that you just shared there is $1 million advice. This idea of going in first. If you keep that in mind with your business, it will make a massive difference. So let me share with you my story about JVs.
Please.
In the past 9 months, I've added close to 140 or 150 partners to my list in 9 months alone. And out of these 9 months, I probably haven't worked actively on adding JV partners, half of it. So 140, 150 partners probably in 4 or 5 months. When I was at a meeting, where I was at an event, at Jay's events or other JV events, and the process that he's teaching there is priceless. So I can't talk enough about it. I have seen results. I know many people who are and have gotten results out of it. So go check it out and do yourself, your family, and your customers a favor, and expand your reach in being able to help more people and serve and support more people internationally. So
Yes. That's
it for me. Thank you, Jay. This has been an amazing conversation. We always have good conversations that I always appreciate you and your knowledge and expertise and your amazing heart and what you do.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you making time and squeezing this in on a weekend. Go play with your kids.
Anytime. So for those of you who are watching, one way that we help our tribe to build their confidence and become more focused and grow and scale their business is through our course, Simple Marketing Formula, where we help our tribe to build their one-page marketing plan. The problem that we solve is the fact that most of the coaches, consultants, and experts that we serve are poking around at different marketing ideas, tools, systems, processes, and programs, and they do that aimlessly without any goals, plans, or directions, causing a lot of confusion, frustration, anxiety, and depression because of the fact that they see and experience daily setbacks and failures with what they're trying to get. So we help them simplify and consolidate their knowledge and what they need to do on a one-pager that they could use on a daily basis and increase their chances of experiencing and reaching their success by about 40 to 80 times. So it's happening on the weekend of January 22nd. I am going to put the link in the comments below. Check it out. We are giving this course away, and it may be the last time we're giving it away. People like Jay have called me crazy for doing that, but it's happening. So if you want to take advantage of that and build a better 2021, in combination of JV partners and a good marketing plan, I think you could do some good magic in 2021. So join us, and we'll work together. The two communities could do well for you and your business.
Without a doubt.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, comments about what we talked about, please put it in the comments below, or write a review and ask your questions on Apple, Spotify, in any platform that you're watching, and or tag a friend who could benefit from the topic, growing skill in their business, and you also enter your name into the draw. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mustafa Hosseini, and we'll see you on our next episode.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.